Could a boy with no food and no hope really change his life? This question haunted Arman every single day. No shoes on his feet, no food in his stomach, no light in the dark corners of his tiny village home. But deep inside, a small fire burned, a fire of hope. Arman was 12 years old, but his body was thin and fragile. His clothes were old and torn, hanging loosely on his frame. Each morning, he woke up hungry. The sun was barely up, and his stomach already growled like a wild animal. He lived in a small village where dusty roads twisted between mud houses. Arman's mother, Amina, woke before dawn to work in the fields. Her hands were rough and cracked from the long hours, but she never complained. Before leaving each morning, she pressed a soft kiss on Arman's forehead and whispered, "Stay strong, my son. One day your dreams will find you." Those words were the only warmth in the cold mornings. School was a small building with peeling paint and crowded benches. Inside, Arman sat in the back, listening as the teacher spoke. But often his mind wandered, his stomach aching, his eyes heavy. Outside the classroom window, he could hear the laughter of other children. Their shoes were clean, their clothes bright. They played carefree. Sometimes they whispered about Arman, calling him poor boy. No shoes. Those words stung deeper than the hunger in his belly. Arman learned to wear silence like armor. He swallowed the pain and focused on the small hope that school gave him. One cold, rainy day, as Arman trudged home barefoot through muddy streets, his feet sore and bleeding, something unexpected happened. His teacher, Miss Isla, caught up with him. Quietly, she slipped a small pair of worn shoes into his bag. "For the boy with the biggest heart," she said softly. Arman looked down at the shoes. They were too small, but it didn't matter. For the first time in months, he felt a spark, a flicker of hope. That small gift became a symbol. A symbol that even in the darkest times, someone believed in him. But hope alone could not fill his empty stomach. Back home, hunger was a shadow that followed him everywhere. The village was unforgiving. Jobs were rare, food was scarce, and poverty was a heavy chain wrapped tightly around Arman's family. Neighbors whispered about the family with no future. Some turned their backs, others pitted silently. Yet each night, under a sky full of stars, Arman made a promise. "I will change my life. I will not let hunger win. I will rise." He whispered these words like a prayer, holding on to them as tightly as he held his dreams. Sometimes when the pain was too much, Arman sat outside their small hut and stared into the distance. He dreamed of a life beyond the dusty roads and cracked walls. A life where no child would go to bed hungry. A life where he could walk proudly in clean shoes. A life filled with light. His mother saw the strength inside her son, even when the world did not. One evening she sat beside Arman, tired but hopeful. "Your dreams are bigger than this village," she said. "Hold on to them. One day the world will see your fire." Arman knew the road ahead was long and filled with hardship. But that night, beneath the quiet stars, something changed inside him. The boy with no food, no shoes, and no hope held tight to his dreams, and the journey had only just begun. Could a boy with no food and no hope really change his life? Arman's heart carried the answer: yes, he could. But the path was not easy. The small shoes from Miss Isla were more than just shoes. They were a symbol of hope, a reminder that someone believed in him. From that day, Arman woke up with a new fire burning inside. He decided he would work harder at school. Even when hunger made his head spin, even when his body felt weak, he promised himself, "I will not give up." School was never easy. Some days the other children laughed at him for being poor. But Arman learned to look past the teasing, focusing instead on the lessons and the dreams they held. One morning, as he sat listening to the teacher, Arman's mind wandered to stories he had read in the village library, stories of heroes who started with nothing but rose to greatness. Those stories became his guide. At home, things were still difficult. Amina worked hard, but there was never enough money for food, let alone extra clothes or supplies. Arman wanted to help. He began looking for small jobs around the village, carrying water, helping farmers, cleaning houses. Each coin he earned was a victory. Despite the hard work, hunger was a constant shadow. Some nights Arman went to sleep with an empty stomach, feeling the ache deep inside. Yet every morning he pushed forward. His determination grew stronger with each challenge he faced. One day, the village announced a competition for young people. The prize? A scholarship to study in the city. Arman's heart raced. This was his chance. He spent every spare moment preparing. He wrote speeches, practiced reading aloud, and dreamed of a future beyond the village's dusty roads. Friends and neighbors doubted him. "You don't have a chance," they said. But Arman's faith did not waver. He remembered his mother's words, "Hold on, my son. Better days will come." And he remembered the small shoes from Miss Isla, symbols of belief and hope. When the day of the competition arrived, Arman stood before the village elders and community. His hands trembled, his heart pounded, but when he spoke, his voice was clear and full of passion. He told them about dreams, hope, and the power of never giving up. He spoke not just for himself, but for every child trapped in hunger and poverty. The room was silent. When the elders announced the winner, Arman's name echoed through the hall. Tears filled his eyes. This was the turning point. City life was a new challenge. The streets were loud and crowded. The buildings were tall and bright, so different from the quiet village. Arman missed his mother and the simple nights under the stars. He worked part-time jobs to pay for food and books. Sometimes exhaustion and loneliness almost broke him. But each time he thought of giving up, he remembered the boy he once was, hungry, barefoot, and full of hope. He remembered his promise. "I will change my life. I will not let hunger win." Slowly, Arman's hard work began to pay off. His grades improved. Teachers noticed his determination and helped him. He made friends who believed in him and supported his dreams. The boy with no food and no hope was becoming a young man with power and promise. Could he really change his life? Every day, Arman answered with action. Years passed. Arman's hard work blossomed into something bright. He graduated at the very top of his class, the first in his family to finish school. His achievements earned him a scholarship to a prestigious university. The boy who once had no shoes now walked confidently into a new world. But Arman didn't stop there. He refused to forget where he came from. With every step forward, he lifted others up. He started a small business helping artisans in his village sell their crafts in the city markets. He organized programs to provide shoes and food to children who looked like he once did, hungry, barefoot, and forgotten. Slowly, his family's life transformed. Empty pots were replaced by warm meals. Tired hands rested in comfort, not labor. The boy who once carried the weight of hunger on his shoulders now carried the hope of a whole community. Success was not just money or rewards. It was change. Change for himself. Change for his family. Change for every child who dared to dream. Now it's your turn. If you feel lost, broken, or hopeless, know this: there is a fire inside you waiting to burn bright. Hold on to your dreams. Fight for your future. Your story is still being written. So tell me, did Arman's pain feel like your pain? Did his rise spark something in you? Then don't just feel it, do something with it. Tap like if you've ever been broken but refused to stay down. Drop a comment, even one word, if you felt seen. Hit subscribe because this isn't just a story, it's a mirror of what you can become. The world won't believe in you until you believe in yourself. And if Arman could rise from nothing, so can you.